What a pleasant surprise this week has been. First, Erica gets her weapon upgrade announced, and now Ephraim is coming out as the next Legendary Hero. My inner Sacred Stones fan is very happy right now. Regardless, the 4th Legendary Hero Summoning event is upon us, and I have to say that it is looking pretty solid. If you aren't familiar with these type of events, then basically they feature a chance at getting specific 5-star units without having to worry about getting non-focus units. You have an 8% chance to get one of these 12 units, including Legendary Lord Ephraim, who will be making his first appearance. This banner is available from February 27th to March 3rd, or February 28th to March 4th, depending on what time zone you're in. In this video, I will be going over what types of skills you can get from every hero listed, so that it may help you decide if it's worth summoning a certain color. I will also give a little information about every hero as to whether they themselves are decent units. First up, let's start by talking about Ephraim and what his new legendary form has to offer. My boy Ephraim is the first Fire Element legendary hero, and this time he's in his Great Lord getup, including his horse. He is a Lance Cavalier, and I believe his Fire Blessing bonus will be a defense increase, but that is not confirmed yet. Ephraim comes with the Flame Siegmund, and this is because in the Sacred Stones it is referred to as the Flame Lance. Erica Sieglind is the Thunder Sword for those interested. So Flame Siegmund is a pretty beastly weapon. It grants Ephraim an extra +3 attack. It also has another effect, which I believe is a new type for Fire Emblem heroes. If the number of foes within 2 spaces, not including the target, is greater than or equal to the number of allies within 2 spaces, then Ephraim is guaranteed a follow-up attack. Now this description needs a bit of clarification, since I am unsure if it is calculating 2 spaces from where Ephraim is or where the enemy is, or maybe different for both. I will showcase a picture of what I think it means being 2 spaces from where Ephraim is at the start of a fight. So if there are more enemies than allies other than the target in this area, then Ephraim guarantees a follow-up attack, and you guys know what crazy things can happen when we get guaranteed follow-up attacks. Continuing with the rest of Ephraim's kit, he comes with Soul, and this is due to his unique B skill, the Solar Brace. Solar Brace restores 30% of damage done when special is activated, and it stacks with other healing specials, which means Noontime heals for 60% and Soul will heal for 80% of damage done. Keep in mind, this doesn't mean you can't use damage specials like Moonbow or Bonfire. I think Solar Brace will be a very interesting skill to play around with. Fun fact, the Solar Brace is a reference to Ephraim and Erica's bracelets they wear, which actually are the key to getting their home country's Sacred Stone and both of their legendary weapons. At this point in their game, they can promote to the Great Lord classes, which puts both of them on a horse, hence why Legendary Ephraim can be seen as his Great Lord class alternative. Going back to Ephraim's A skill, he comes with Sturdy Stance, which is the defensive version of Sturdy Blow. When he is attacked, Ephraim gains +4 attack and defense, which is very nice. Ephraim's C skill is a bit simpler and it's just Fortified Defense, which is nothing special, but I like it regardless. So I really want to talk about Legendary Ephraim more since he is my favorite Fire Emblem Lord. However, I will place this discussion at the end of the video. If you want to hear more of my thoughts about potential skill usage, then I hope you keep watching. For now, let's talk about the other 11 heroes you can summon. For red heroes, we have Legendary Ike, Mia, and Summer Leo. I do want to make sure you guys know we will be getting a free Legendary Ike very soon that you can get by completing a Xenologue chapter in the main story, I believe. So if you just want Ike, then maybe don't spend your orbs unless you want his skills or want merges. For blue heroes, we have Legendary Ephraim, Shiro, and Summer Corn. Green heroes are Brave Ike, Gunther, and Dorcas. Last for colorless, we have Jafar, Summer Gaius, and Performing Arts Olivia. So this event is actually pretty nice. In my opinion, everyone in red, blue, and green, except for Summer Leo, are all pretty top tier, both in performance as well as skill inheritance. Colorless isn't that bad either, and I would like using both Jafar, Summer Gaius, and Performing Arts Olivia, since she is a dancer. I would rate Colorless right behind the other colors as well, and definitely better than some other color sections we've had in the past. Let's now go over all the different skills each of these units have, so if you don't pull who you want, then you can at least use them for something useful. If you are new to these types of videos, then know that I like to list out rare skills in yellow, good skills you may want for inheritance in purple, and then uninheritable skills in red, just so you know. Legendary Ike is pretty good as a unit, having a distant counter sword in Ragno. He also has a special version of Aether, which is on a 4-turn cooldown, and his Warding Breath A skill can help him proc it even faster. Seriously, you will notice this banner has some amazing A skills available. Seal Attack / Defense 2 isn't really that great, but Defense Tactic is awesome, and I've been using it a bunch recently. Overall, even if you don't want more Ikes, he has some great skills to inherit. Mia is a very fast sword unit who can dish out some deadly special attacks. Her Resolute Blade is just a more powerful Woe Dow, and her Flashing Blade A skill can help her proc specials faster as long as she outspeeds her opponents. Mia is the sole holder of Flashing Blade, but as a unit she is pretty darn good as well. Last is Summer Leo, who has pretty good resistance and decent attack for a mage, but just doesn't have enough speed to be a top tier mage. His Tomato Tome is inheritable, but is just a support weapon. Besides attack ploy, Summer Leo is the least wanted out of this group. Overall, red is not bad to summon on, and you can get 2 pretty good sword users with good skills. Next is blue, and we've already talked about Legendary Ephraim enough. Besides sturdy stance, he doesn't have much to offer in terms of skill inheritance, but being the new legendary hero, he may interest you to summon. Shiro is a lance infantry unit who is pretty darn good in my opinion. I actually think he is a better version of infantry Ephraim in terms of his stat spread, and his weapon is pretty good too. The bright Naginata actually has the same effect as sturdy stance, and Shiro comes with steady stance as well. Attacking Shiro means he gains plus 10 defense and plus 4 attack, so good luck getting through his physical bulk. He also has defense tactic, so overall, Shiro is a solid unit to summon, no matter if you want to keep him or sacrifice him. Summer Corn is another great unit because she is the only blue flying mage so far. Her Sea Life Tome is lackluster, but give her a Blade Tome and surround her with flower buffs, and she is an absolute monster. I really hate having to face her in the arena. Corn comes with Swift Strike, which may not be the best skill, but only she has it currently. Fortify Flyers is also on Sheeta, but some of you may not have her, so Corn can be a great alternative. Overall, I think blue is the best color to summon. Despite my bias to wanting Ephraim, Shiro and Summer Corn are both really good units to have. Summoning green can get you Brave Ike, who has both Aether and Steady Breath to offer. He is a pretty tanky unit thanks to Irvan, and he works very well as an enemy phase unit. This banner has both Steady Breath and Warding Breath, so if you really want those powerful skills, now may be the time to spend some orbs. Dorcas is a cool infantry axe unit because he has the only axe with distant counter built in the game. Fierce Stance grants him plus 6 attack when initiated on, and Quick Riposte means he will reply with 2 high powered hits. Infantry Pulse is also pretty rare, so if you want more copies of it, Dorcas is your man. Last is Gunthra, our Wind legendary hero, and her Blizzard and Chilling Seal skills work really well to single out low defense targets. Fortress Res has recently become a Sacred Seal, and Res Ploy, while on 3 heroes now, is still a 5-star lock skill. Overall, green is another good color to summon on, especially if you want Steady Breath from Ike or Infantry Pulse from Dorcas. Last we have colorless units, and starting with the Angel of Death, Jafar, you can nab Life and Death 3 from him. Previously, Jafar was a not so great dagger unit, but his refined Deathly Dagger actually makes him really fun to use, although a little expensive to get going. Personally, he's been one of my favorite units to play around with since the weapon refinery. Summer Gaius is a fast archer who can really shine with the right nature. His refreshing bow is okay, but I would say Defense Ploy is the better skill to inherit from him. He may be a limited time unit, but I think he has a decent spot among all the archers. Last is Performing Arts Olivia, and for the sake of having another dancer, I would say she is worth getting. Distant Defense is also a rare and powerful skill, so if you want that, here's another chance. Overall, the colorless units aren't bad themselves, but they don't have the most number of skills to inherit, so I would say don't waste your orbs unless you really want a specific unit or skill. That wraps up all the skill inheritance options for this banner. Not a bad banner at all, just remember that 8% is still 8% and even less per specific color. The legendary summoning events can be either really good or really bad for some people, and at the end of the day, it really just does come down to luck. Summon if you want any of the 5 stars in each color group, but don't expect to get the exact unit you want without a little bit of luck or spending a little bit of cash. As mentioned, I really want to talk about Legendary Ephraim more, and hopefully you stuck around this long to hear me ramble about what I think of him. Everything from here on is just based on what I've seen so far from the trailer. I will not be discussing the rest of the Legendary Summoning event, so if Legendary Ephraim does not interest you, then you should probably stop watching. So starting off, I'm happy with the artwork. Same artist as his original design, and it's nothing too different. I personally prefer the color scheme of his base outfit, but I don't mind a bluer Ephraim. Another thing I really like is his Killing Blow animation, which is absolutely his Great Lord critical animation, where he spins his lance a few times. I absolutely love how it looks, and even though I'm a bigger fan of his infantry critical animation, this one is just amazing looking in Heroes. Next, let's talk about Flame Siegmund. So again, I would like to know how the range works for its effect to take place. We'll find out tomorrow, so that's not really a super big deal. One thing to keep in mind is that it has some really odd requirements to activate. Essentially, Ephraim has to sort of be on his own for it to work. If you want to bait with him, Ephraim cannot be standing next to his whole team, or the single enemy that advances will not be enough to trigger Flame Siegmund. I want to say this is a reference to Ephraim in Sacred Stones because at the start of the game, you begin with Erica and find out that Ephraim is on his own with a small group of soldiers in the middle of enemy territory. Separation is usually bad in Heroes, and depending on the map, Flame Siegmund may be really difficult to activate. It's going to require a different way of thinking about strategy, especially if you want the guaranteed follow-up on the enemy phase. Personally, I think Flame Siegmund is an interesting weapon, but I would love to actually test it out first to get a better feel for it. It sort of takes Brash Assault and Quick Repose and gets rid of their HP requirements while replacing it with a proximity range requirement. These skills are quite powerful, but if you think about it, Flame Siegmund sort of has two of them, although with very different activation costs. Let's discuss some skills to look out for with Flame Siegmund. So let's talk about special skills and Soul Brace. With Soul Brace, Ephraim has a ton of different options for his special. Noontime gets bumped up to 60% healing, and Soul is now 80% healing, which is actually a huge amount if Ephraim can chunk enemies. He doesn't have to run healing specials only, however. Give him Moonbow and you actually now have a mini Aether, 30% damage reduction and 30% healing on a 2-turn cooldown. Doesn't sound that bad in theory. Luna can also be used for a bigger damage chunk, but on a 3-turn cooldown instead. One really interesting skill could be Aether, and while Ephraim can't run Steady or Warding Breath for the cooldown reduction, he can run Heavy Blade. With Heavy Blade, any of these specials could be procced a lot faster, and honestly an Aether hit with 80% healing off of it sounds super extremely tempting. If Ephraim has high base attack, the Heavy Blade Sacred Seal might be a great choice, considering his plus attack or his plus 3 attack from Flame Siegmund and the plus 4 attack from Sturdy Stance. If we trade out Soul Brace, there are some interesting B skill options to think about. First off, Windsweep Ephraim could make a return because of Flame Siegmund's guaranteed follow-up mechanic. Same as regular Ephraim with upgraded Siegmund, Legendary Ephraim and Flame Siegmund could get 2 hits in and not receive any counterattacks back from physical damage units. You don't even need to worry about being on full HP this time. Not saying it would be good, but it's an option. For something a little more practical and cheaper, Flame Siegmund could be run with Desperation. Remember, the guaranteed follow-up is what makes Brash Assault and Desperation work for slower units. Legendary Ephraim could take a hit and then split off on his own to take out a priority target with 2 immediate hits with Desperation. This combo may be even better than with Brash Assault because you don't even need the enemy to be able to counterattack back, so Ephraim can get 2 hits in on ranged units. I actually think this may be a really fun build, albeit it heavily depends on you being able to position Ephraim not next to his teammates. And that's going to be it for now, as I don't want to go too deep into theory crafting. I think waiting one more day isn't going to hurt, and I'm going to be spending all my orbs to get them anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and maybe it helped you decide on if you should summon or not, and which colors are the most enticing if you do decide to spend some orbs. Tell me what you think about this legendary summoning event, and also what you think about Legendary Ephraim in the comments. Personally, I think he looks great, and even if he ends up being not that great, I'm going to try and get him anyway. See you guys in the next video.